coverage tonight in La Plata's Ground Zero. Laura?
38 homes destroyed here in La Plata. There's just nothing left. And today people returned to their homes, the daylight revealing the reality. They found twisted metal, strewn belongings. They're trying to salvage what they can.
Trying to make the best of a bad situation, scavenging. Yeah, it's been a big scavenger hunt all day.
Scott Schofield returns to the devastation only to find treasures.
And I found some pictures, some keepsakes that I had that I know I didn't expect to find. Pictures of my kids and pictures of friends and trips that I've been on. And
packing up what's left with the help of friends, Scott goes through the rubble that once was his house. He remembers the moment that would change his life.
And I bounced off this wall and I fell down right here, like this.
I saw my house in 1,000 million little pieces all over my backyard, and it was devastating, really.
Just down the street, Lee Johnson remembers the terror that stopped his kitchen clock. But his family, too, has discovered belongings that yesterday didn't seem to matter as much.
My guitars, because I'm in a band.
I found a little angel that I gave to her sister that was always on the Christmas tree.
The walls may no longer stand here, but the memories will never die.
Take what he can out of it and bulldoze the rest, he says, and build him a new house.
And that's the attitude we found with everyone that we've found walking around here, just really in a daze. It's unbelievable walking around. It's more like a movie set, just surreal, but people seem to be looking forward. I want to give you a breakdown of the damage here in La Plata. There are 67 total structures destroyed, including 38 homes, 1 apartment, 27 businesses, 1 public building. People say it seems like the whole town is gone, and Brian, power will not be restored until Wednesday.
Laura Evans, thank you for that. And if you have any questions about a home or a business, you can call the Charles County Emergency Services. Numbers there on your screen, 301-645-0509. Charles County is also grappling with another problem tonight, security. You know, these are pictures again from Skyfox. You can see the bright lights shining down on La Plata's ruined business district where we are now. Those lights are supposed to deter looters, along with the help of the National Guard. Paul Wagner continues our team coverage tonight. Paul.
Brian, officers in cars, bike, on foot, on ATVs, and even up in helicopters are patrolling this disaster area tonight, hoping to prevent vandalism and looting. It's a big job in an area still in the dark. Stephen Scott and the employees of the law firm he owns are trying to salvage what they can. The twister tore off the front of the building, leaving files, computers, and other valuable material exposed.
I'm very concerned about that because as of now we have a lot of files and a lot of things in the building that could be salvaged. If we can't get them out, then you know there are things that we could lose in the meantime.
Just around the corner, the First Community Bank was also destroyed, and sheriff's deputies from St. Mary's County kept a watchful eye on the safe until an armored car could arrive to remove the money. The challenge now is keeping an eye on all the businesses that were damaged.
That's exactly what we did last night. A presence here, a heavy presence of not only stationary patrols and stationary posts, but roving patrols on foot, roving patrols certainly in cruisers, and we've had our helicopters up with our night suns illuminating the areas as well.
Sheriff Fred Davis says he's not too worried about looting. The challenge for him will be manpower, mopping up, trying to get things back to normal.
As you can see, there's not a whole lot you can loot, and people are in here now getting things cleaned out.
Now, the sheriff said he's been overwhelmed with offers of help from police departments as far west as Hagerstown, Maryland. One other note, there were 2 banks that were actually destroyed in La Plata. The other one was just down the street here at the corner of Route 6, Port Tobacco Road and 301. We're live in La Plata. Paul Wagner, Fox 5 News.
Paul, thank you for that. This tornado also destroyed one of the largest Catholic schools in southern Maryland. Washington's Archbishop Theodore McCarrick toured the damage at Archbishop Neal School. 550 students, grades 1 through 8, attend the school on Port Tobacco Road. There's no word yet on where the kids will finish out the school year. Parents also take note, all Charles County public schools will again be closed tomorrow. Now, Tracy, of course, La Plata is not the only community that's having to cope with the extensive damage tonight.
Yeah, that's so true, Brian. Other Maryland communities fell victim to the storm's wicked path. In Hughesville, the storm left behind an incredible tale of two families. From there, that storm moved into Prince Frederick County in Calvert County. But we begin this part of our coverage tonight with Fox 5's Melanie Olnick in Hughesville.
Crews and services are being coordinated here at the command center in La Plata. Further east in Hughesville, families also know what it's like to come face to face with an F5. After leveling La Plata, the storm roared through Hughesville, trampling trees and tearing homes to shreds. This is what's left of the Solers house in Hughesville. The family rushed inside as the funnel cloud approached. Daughters Bianca and Ashley ran screaming into the bathroom and tried desperately to keep the door shut.
Watching the trees, it just looked like a mixture of paint going around and around.
Were you guys screaming? Were you scared?
Oh, yeah, we were very scared. We were terrified as anyone could be. We thought it was an earthquake.
William managed to hold on to his mother just before she was sucked out by the 200+ mile-an-hour winds.
I said, give me your hand, and she was delirious. She was in shock, I guess, and I just reached out and pulled her and put her in between my legs, and at the same time as I did that, the roof came falling down. And as it fell down right there, a 2x4 shot right across from us.
Across the street, the entire second floor of Steve DeLuca's house is gone. He and his wife huddled in the basement. When they finally crawled upstairs, they saw nothing but daylight. Stories of terrors are sweetened with small triumphs.
I had a solid gold pocket watch that belonged to my grandfather. We found it.
Their houses may be destroyed, but their hearts are still strong. Most of those families are staying with friends at hotels or in shelters set up in Waldorf. Tomorrow morning, the bulldozers and the wreckers will turn their attention to the homes in Hughesville, completing the twisters' total destruction. In Charles County, I'm Melanie Olnwick, Fox 5 News.
All right, thanks so much, Melanie. In the Hughesville, Benedict, and Bryanstown area, 13 homes were destroyed, 90 were damaged. After leaving Hughesville, the intense twister tore its way through parts of Calvert County, leaving plenty of damage behind, causing one death. Fox 5's Noel Tucker is live in Prince Frederick tonight with that part of the story. Noel.
The woman killed was 74-year-old Margaret Albee, Tracy. She was hiding under a couch with her husband. Her husband is in the hospital tonight. Now, about the destruction, Tracy, authorities say 23 homes were damaged here in Calvert County. And this is a pretty typical example of what we're seeing around here. A lot of insulation and debris littered around. And if you'll follow me in through the garage here, the garage door, of course, on the ground. Coming in the side kitchen entrance, one of the first things you notice when you come into one of these damaged houses, besides the obvious mess, look up. There is no roof on this house. It is intimidating, the damage and the cleanup ahead. But the community here is already bouncing back.
We happened to look over there and saw a whole bunch of dark clouds.
It was a disposable camera. Jason Hinton and Chad Hickey kept clicking away until the hail chased them away.
Of course, you're going to sprint, run right in the house.
Hail even bigger than this.
Okay, and you can make a snow cone out if you want.
Just up the Patuxent River, the DeLoda-Vicchio family wasn't taking any chances. Larry and Jerry hid in their bathtub, and notice their bathroom is the only part of their house still standing.
House was like it was shaking, you know, and that's when I thought, my God, here we go.
But stories and pictures aren't all that's being shared. Across Prince Frederick, neighbors are now reaching out, sharing a whole lot of cleanup muscle. Cutting, dumping, tractoring. Dennis Fincham drove 5 miles on his John Deere to help haul away trash.
Because if it happened to me, I'd want someone to be helping me.
Neighbors say it's an outpouring of support as overwhelming as the storm itself.
Everyone's rallying around. It's been excellent.
Neighbors are outstanding. We've been cooking cookies all day, and we've been, the Red Cross has been here to help us, and all the neighbors have pitched in together. That's why the yards are so clean the way they are. We just focused on one home at a time, and we just kept helping each other out until we've...
The family who lived in this home was not home at the time of the storm. They are one of 11 families in Calvert County displaced tonight. Many of them are staying at local hotels. By the way, in that spirit of helping out, Calvert County actually sent 6 of its deputies over to Charles County, to La Plata, to help out with the damage there today. In southern Maryland, Noel Tucker, Fox 5 News. Back to you, Tracy.
All right, thanks. If nothing else, it's good to see the community rallying around each other like that. Thanks, Noel. About the hailstone that Noel showed you in his story, the owner actually lives about 15 miles away. He is planning a rescue mission of sorts by transporting that stone to his house via cooler. We wish him well. Brian?
Tracy, you know, when we talk about the tornado, we of course mention the number of victims, but the emotional and physical toll is really almost too much to imagine. Of course, La Plata is one of the communities hardest hit. It's a small, tight-knit community where neighbors are dealing with devastating losses. Tonight, Diane Roberts puts a face on the figures.
I just held on and I was going for a ride and was praying to God that I open my eyes once it's finished.
He did open his eyes, but one was swollen shut from his injuries. 22-year-old courier Antoine Christie was looking for shelter when the tornado flipped his car in La Plata. He's the father of a baby girl and grateful to the man who pulled him out.
I told him to call me in a couple of weeks and I'd take him out and thank him any way he wants.
The family who lives here is grateful, too, that they survived the tornado. When you look at the Gilbert family home and all the belongings in this valley, it's hard to believe anybody lived, but son Brandon did.
I left my car right in the middle of the road running, and I was like, oh my God, my son is in the house.
The senior at La Plata High loves basketball. He escaped with a few gashes on his face. But down the road, the owners of this house weren't so lucky. William Erickson died. His wife Susan is in the hospital with broken bones, cuts, and bruises. The retired Navy man and his wife were selling their Waldorf home and only went to La Plata to check on their house under construction.
They didn't even have to be here.
Seem like great neighbors to have.
In La Plata, Diane Roberts, Fox 5 News.
Now, in all the destruction and death here in La Plata, there are some positives that are emerging, of course, signs of caring and comfort in the midst of all this mayhem. Right after the tornado hit in the neighborhood you just heard about, Martha's Purchase, people weren't concerned about their belongings, but rather each other. Ken Williamson was out helping the Gilberts dig out from the rubble today. Last night, they were all looking out for each other.
As soon as we realized the storm was past, we all started going around to check, okay, is everybody here? Is everybody at your house here? Everybody at your house? That part of it was very good. It was comforting to know that we all were taking care of one another.
Once I got here and found my son, you know, we walked around making sure that every family could account for just about everyone.
The families say they were able to pull together as a community. A group of Amish men even from St. Mary's County came out this morning to help the tornado victims out. They arrived and started working right away on the damaged homes here in La Plata. And of all of this, believe it or not, a building here in La Plata that is supposed to help out tornado victims of a disaster at this point in time, well, it got a little damaged. In fact, it was destroyed itself. Here's what's left of the Red Cross building, completely destroyed by the tornado. But volunteers are still helping people out in the recovering effort. In fact, an effort is underway right now. Fox 5's Sean Yancey live now with that story. Sean.
That's right, Brian. We are actually in the Walmart parking lot right off of Route 301. We are here with a donated truck, in fact, donated by Cisco, with a big vat of dry ice donated by Arctic Ice. This is for anyone out there in the community who's lost power, who does not have a refrigerator right now. Crews are bagging up the ice. They will be handing it out free of charge to anyone who needs it right here up until 11 o'clock tonight. You know, as we were out and about in the community today, we noticed that donations and volunteering are basically what is helping keep this community together.
Would you all want dinner, soda? In the midst of all the chaos, Pam Thompson and the Waldorf JCs are delivering a little calm.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Served up in the form of barbecue, fried chicken, and cold drinks.
Me, myself, is hard because I start to cry every time I think about it, but I have to put those tears aside and do what my heart tells me.
It's great. It's good to have somebody to take care of us. We put in a good day's work today.
While the Red Cross handled area families, the JCs focused on the area officers, power company workers, and cleanup volunteers working around the clock.
It's unbelievable, though, what they've been supplying for us out here. Got the stands over there. This is totally unexpected.
Well, that's all I got left. Thank you very much.
Even when workers couldn't come down, the JCs got the food up to them. The JCs have also been out on the street volunteering all day long, and they say they will be back out here again tomorrow, too.
Would you like some dinner? We have barbecue beef and coleslaw and fried chicken.
Again, the folks here with the dry ice truck will be here until about 11 o'clock tonight if you need dry ice. Just also to let you know, a number of different organizations have been working around the clock. They will continue to donate their time food and any cleanup efforts that they possibly can. Also, one more note to pass along. The Red Cross is offering shelter to anyone who was displaced by the tornado. It is at the Thomas Stone High School that's up about 6 miles north of here, up in Waldorf. Reporting live in La Plata, I'm Sean Yancey. Brian, back to you.
All right, Sean, thank you for that. Of course, the disaster assistance is free. If you need a place to stay or any other help, give the Red Cross a call. It's right there on your screen. 1-800-GET-INFO. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Tracy, I spoke with one of the heads of the Red Cross here in Charles County. He says not only are they offering all the assistance they can, they also need a little bit of help themselves. They're strapped, if you can imagine. This disaster far exceeded any budget they have. So if you're interested, you can give the Red Cross a call and earmark funds for the Charles County disaster. That would help them out an awful lot as well. Trace.
That's a great idea. Thanks, Brian. This is quite a disaster, in part because of the sheer power of this storm. It created so many injuries and so much damage. It has been classified as an F5. We go to Fox 5's Sue Palka in the Weather Center tonight. And Sue, an F5 is rare in the middle of Tornado Alley, let alone right here in our own area, right?
You're sure right about that, Tracy. As Brian mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it's the only F5 ever in Maryland history. And the incidence of an F5 tornado hitting in the U.S. is about 1 a year. We went back and checked the statistics, and there haven't been that many. Now, they're rated by the damage they cause to man-made structures, so it could be that there are other F5s that are out in Tornado Alley that don't hit a structure, but it's very unusual for one to hit a populated area. Just devastating. Let's talk a little bit more about that Fujita scale. And as we said, it is up to an F5, and that was classified earlier today. We have some of those statistics. Well, let me just tell you that an F5 means it had winds above 261 miles an hour. The damage description on that is called incredible. To give you some idea, the College Park tornado was an F3. I want to show you some pictures that we have of the tornado. This one, of course, as it going across Charles County, it looks like it came out of a textbook in Tornadoes 101. There were also twin funnels seen. That was in Calvert County by photographer Gary Stein. We thank him for sharing those pictures. And we also want to give you a little better idea of exactly where this incredible tornado tracked. The damage path was 24 miles long. That's unheard of in this area. That was just in Charles County. It also tracked 6 miles through Calvert, and it was 400 yards wide. That would be the width of 4 football fields. Let's give you a little more specific idea of where this tracked through Charles. The first touchdown in Smallwood State Park, and then it moved toward Marbury. At that point, it was an F2. Then it tracked across Morgan's Ridge, Quailwood, and Clark Run. It strengthened at that point to an F4, crossed over 301 into La Plata on the south side of Route 6, where it was rated an F5 just east of La Plata. The tornado also affected parts of Ellenwood, Hughesville, and Benedict. We don't want to downplay what happened there because F4 damage occurred in Benedict as well. These areas are all very badly affected. And finally, it moved into Calvert County and into Prince Frederick, where we saw Noel Tucker. And at that point, it was also rated an F4. So how exactly are these ratings determined? Well, it takes a big effort on the part of the National Weather Service. And our colleague Steve Rudin was out there today as they assessed the damage. Steve, it must have been an incredible experience for you.
Amazing stuff out here. You know, it's hard to believe that these storms ripped across the area so fast, at times moving upwards of 50 miles per hour from west to east. Watches and warnings, they were issued by the National Weather Service. The people of La Plata, they knew the storms were coming. They were hoping for the best while expecting the worst.
It's building and building and building, coming like it's going to come right over the tree line.
And it's probably the worst damage on the East Coast in 50 years.
It only took seconds for a tornado to knock this house off its foundation, scattering debris for miles.
That's how I lost
Did you guys see the tornado?
With winds possibly exceeding 260 miles an hour, it's no wonder metal could twist around a pole like rope.
You know, it looks to me like it's F5.
Teams from the National Weather Service, using aerial footage, home video, and eyewitness reports, now believe that more than one tornado caused all this destruction.
So just estimating the length across the county was 24 miles. We may have another 6 miles into Calvert County, which would put it 30 miles.
Now, this is just some of the damage that an F5 tornado can do. You know, this storm is the first F5 tornado in the state of Maryland. The last time they had an F5 tornado anywhere on the East Coast was back up in the 1950s, and that was up in Worcester, Massachusetts. Reporting live, I'm Steve Rudin, Fox 5. Tracy?
Yeah, it shows you just how strong this really was. Thanks, Steve. The National Weather Service, by the way, will be back out again tomorrow one more time before they make a final determination on the strength of the tornado. Our tornado coverage does not end here tonight.
No, it doesn't. When we come back live, insurance adjusters check up on homeowners. But even if you weren't in the path of the storm, there are some things that you can do to protect yourself and your property in the future.
Tonight, the mess that many of you were stuck in, the toxic spill that shut down the Beltway.
Still to come. And helping you cope with the losses and keeping them to a minimum. The insurance tips everyone needs to know. Straight ahead. Claims from yesterday's tornado will be astronomical. People who lost cars, homes, even businesses, they've begun the painful process of starting to file those claims. Consumer reporter Elizabeth Leamy now is live with some words of advice and a little bit of caution as well. Elizabeth?
That's right, Brian. I have found little pieces of people's property lying around all over this town. The good news is tornado damage is covered by standard insurance policies. You know, some other forms of storm damage like flooding are not. The bad news, though, most people are not as prepared as they should be to make a claim. It's a surreal scene. Posey's Market in La Plata was leveled, but inside neatly stacked canned goods still stand. The store is basically a total loss.
I think it's very hard for my husband to look at it that way when he's put 11, almost 12 years of his life into the business.
Experts say victims should not remove damaged items until an adjuster has seen the state of their property. On the other hand, if you don't take basic steps to board up and protect what's left, your insurance company may not cover damage caused by later storms.
So you got most of your records.
Insurance agent Larry Sanders says try to salvage your paperwork, take pictures, keep receipts, and keep records of every conversation you have. He knows what he's talking about. The tornado hit his building, too.
It's going to be a long process. Something like this isn't fixed overnight. So don't get too anxious, don't too emotional or lose tempers over it.
Don't rush into hiring a contractor either. A lot of fly-by-night businesses try to take advantage after a disaster. Your insurance company may be able to recommend a reputable one. And insurance companies were already beginning to cut checks to people on the spot today, Brian.
Elizabeth, you mentioned a lot about homes. What about cars like this one behind me, obviously completely destroyed? Are they covered?
Yes, indeed, they are, as long as you have full collision and comprehensive coverage. A lot of people with older vehicles only have liability insurance, and in that case, they're out of luck.
All right, Elizabeth Leamy live in La Plata. We thank you for that and those words of advice as well. You know, even if you're at home right now, miles away from this disaster scene, it is still a jarring reminder to get your insurance in order. You need to update your policy to make sure it's adequate for your belongings. Here's a few tips. First of all, make a detailed inventory of everything that you have, and then take a videotape of all your stuff. And then the caveat here, make sure that videotape is not in your home. Put it somewhere else, like work or a safety deposit box. Keep it safe as well in case disaster strikes. You know, insurance crews aren't the only ones working with tornado victims tonight, Tracy.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. Health workers are visiting families as well. But you don't have to be a victim yourself to be affected by the images you're seeing tonight. The conversation parents should be having with their kids just ahead. And here is the updated Red Cross phone number for information, 1-866-GET-INFO.
Radio